I will probably not be opening my eyes this entire podcast, just so you guys know. That's one of the reasons why I'm wearing the sunglasses.
Pain, huh?
Yeah, that's the thing is, so for those who are listening who don't know, I got LASIK eye surgery 3 days ago. And they didn't really give me instructions on what to expect. I mean, they kind of did, but it's funny because I vlogged the entire thing, and I so many times these past few days have been searching for like LASIK vlogs because I want to know if what I'm feeling is normal, but people haven't really vlogged this experience yet. So
well, you're going to fill a void there. And in my opinion, surgeons generally undersell the recovery time. Like they don't think about they generally aim a little low. That certainly has been the case in my life, and I know for you, honey.
Oh yeah, donate a kidney. It's easy. You'll be fine.
Yeah, no, that's. But they're just thinking about the surgery and that goes well, and you'll heal up fine.
yeah,
So
it's crazy.
You're okay though, right? It went well. I guess you'll hear all about it later.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys about it because it was one of the scariest experiences of my entire life. And you guys both had eye surgery, but you guys had RK. And so I'm curious on how different that is from LASIK. But geez, yeah, I have so much to talk about.
Well, then we might as well get started. What do you say?
All right, let's roll that intro music.
Let's do it.
Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos. Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos.
I will say one of the first things I said afterwards. I'm so excited for this vlog because it's so like honest. But one of the first things I said afterwards was like, I am so thankful I never have to do that again because it was so scary. So basically, I had 2 incredible friends take me, Mitchell and Blythe. They were great. They provided lots of comedic relief. They were great vloggers. They were a great support system. And
you called us on the way there and on the way back. And
separately because we weren't together.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was in a little bit different states each time.
A little different with the Valium.
Well, the crazy thing is, so we went there. They made them go away. When I went to the front desk, they made Mitchell and Blythe go away for like all the money talks. It was really funny. So I will say this place was so like vlog friendly. Even throughout the entire surgery, they were in a tiny room right next to me that was completely glass. And they had a screen showing what they were doing to my eye. So they literally saw and recorded. Whoops, I hit the mic. They saw and they recorded everything. It was crazy. I wasn't expecting them to be along for that intimate of a journey. But amazing. It worked out. And I'm so glad they were there because I almost didn't take the Valium. I got like super stressed. And I am not making this up. We were sitting in the room after she gave it to me. I was debating for like 5 minutes. I made all of us stop and ask God if I should take the Valium. I was
That sounds like something you would do if you're already on Valium.
I know, but I was so stressed. I was like, I'm not. Everyone, close your eyes and ask God right now.
What did God say?
I think God said yes. Yeah. I was told God said yes.
He didn't say not to. So.
He didn't say not to.
And you're hypersensitive to anything like that. So
yeah, and
True.
So basically I took it, but I took it like 5 to 10 minutes after I think they thought I took it because I was going through this back and forth. And so when I was laying on the table, it had not quite kicked in. But they were like, would you like a teddy bear and a blanket? And I was like, absolutely, I want a teddy bear and a blanket.
That's exactly what you need. You should have brought your own teddy bear.
They brought me a great teddy bear. It was amazing. And so I was hugging a teddy bear. And at first I was like, no, I don't need the blanket. And then the doctor took a while to get in there. And I was like, could I actually get that blanket? So they brought over the blanket. We were sitting there. Well, I was laying there with this giant machine over me. And then the doctor finally came in. And basically how it worked was there were 2 sections. So the first machine I didn't really expect there to be two separate machines. I kind of thought it was all going to be the same machine. They also, they asked me, they were like, you watched the videos we sent, right? And I said, yeah.
What?
I lied. I completely lied on that table because I didn't want to seem like a bad patient.
Yeah.
Why didn't you watch them?
I lost the email. I like totally meant to, and then it slipped my mind. But it still worked out. I told her, I said, yeah.
If you hadn't lied, she would have given you the cliff notes.
As long as the doctor watched the videos. That's the important thing.
Exactly.
I think she knew I was lying because I said, yeah, but it was a long time ago. I don't really remember.
Oh, covered your bases.
You just said like John Mulaney.
That's practice, like from when you were in school. That's like a reaction, a well-practiced reaction.
I didn't lie in school.
No, you're not a good liar, which is a good thing.
But
Not
no,
that we
so
know.
that first machine, basically what it did, how graphic should I be? I feel like I should be pretty graphic.
Well, we're not showing it like in your
it's also
vlog.
not like disgusting graphic. It's just very informative. And if you're considering this, you should know it. So basically the first machine, what it does is it cuts a little like almost full circle, but not quite full circle of the like covering of your eye that they're going to flip up when they do the laser. But the way they cut it is not with a knife. They cut it with air. It's like a suction air, which is super duper cool, except for the fact that it feels like they're sucking your eye into a portal.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Like,
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How did they keep your eye open? Because when they did it with us, they put these clamps in that kind of held your eye open, and they kind of went under your eyelids and spread it wide open like that.
It wasn't that scary. I was afraid it was going to be like that. They did have something that held it open, but it looked kind of like a sideways eyelash curler is the best way I can describe it. It was like a little C-shaped thing, and there was rubber on each side, and the doctor just put it in and like used it to hold it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like metal. It wasn't invasive. You could still kind of try and blink as like a natural thing, and you wouldn't mess it up. So that part was totally fine. And they have numbing eye drops in your eye too.
Right.
But yeah, the machine, it kept coming down. And I kept thinking that the Valium wasn't working and that I was just a superior human. It was a thought that kept coming into my mind. I was like, I'm so glad I'm just like a chill person. That like I can handle this. Looking back, it probably was a little bit of the Valium, but the machine,
totally the Valium.
it kept
And the drops.
coming. Yeah, the drops were helpful, but not for like the nerves. My heart was still beating really fast, but the machine, it like was coming towards my eye, and then it kept coming, then it kept coming, and I was waiting for it to stop, and it just didn't until it was on my eyeball.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then they have you, while it's on, they have you look at this green little light, and they tell you, you're going to see the green light, and then you're going to see it disappear, but keep staring where it was.
Right.
And I was like, cool.
Is the machine loud?
It wasn't that loud.
Okay.
But it was really hard to look at the light. And I did feel like my soul was getting sucked out of my body. Like it was so
eyeball.
intense through my eyeball. And so they did the first eye, and it only takes about 10 seconds. That's the thing, is it's very uncomfortable and like terrifying, but it's only 10 seconds. Like if you can push through it, you can push through it. And then they go to the next eye, and I was like, all right, I know the drill. I've got this. Did it. And then they moved the machine, and they were like, all right, oh, I forgot a part. Wait, I have to go back like 10 seconds. After they did the first eye, guys, they did the left eye first, and my right eye was taped down. And when my eye came away from the machine, I couldn't see anything. All I saw was like blue.
What?
And fully in my mind, I was like, I just went blind. Like they messed it up. And I started to tell the doctor, I started to go, is it bad if, and then I stopped and I went,
because it was in the video. It was probably in the video.
I don't know if it was, actually, I don't think it was in the video. I think it was just like what they did was moved a weird way where I couldn't see anything. Because when they did it on the other eye, I could still see out of the other eye. It was just the way that it had like gone. But I stopped telling him that I think something's wrong because I didn't want him to feel bad if he messed up. Like,
I think you should know that information.
Yeah, it'd be good if they thought that if you thought they messed up, it'd be good to tell them before they mess up the other eye, right?
I didn't want to embarrass him in front of his colleagues.
But what are the odds he messes up both of them? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I was also. I was pretty high. I'm not gonna lie. The Valium was in effect at this point. And so basically they sat me up and I was like, oh. And they were like, we're gonna move you over to the laser now. And that's when I started to put together like, okay, it's a 2-piece operation. I knew 2 things were gonna happen. I just didn't know it was different machines. And so I laid down on the other machine. And at that point I was more so just like, all right, I just want this to be over with. And so he
was it in the same room?
Same room, like a 1.5 feet apart. It wasn't that long of a walk.
I was going to say, if your eyelids are like your cornea is open, you shouldn't be walking around.
Yeah, they helped me. They took away the teddy bear though. I didn't get that back for the laser, I don't think. But so the second bit is when the doctor flipped up the cornea or whatever it was. And the laser happened. That bit was a lot less invasive. It wasn't like on my eye. He was holding my eye open again and I was looking at a light again, but the light didn't go away. And it was pretty easy. You could just smell the laser, which is always a freaky thing. You're like, oh, that's a laser burning me or lasering me, whatever it does. And at that point, this is really funny. Valium was full in effect at this point, and I just got pissed. Like, I got so upset because I was like, if you know me, I have sensitive eyes. Like, I'm sensitive to the light. I'm sensitive to just, like, screens in general. And so, not only did they cut open my eye and take away the protective layer it had and then shoot a laser into my eye, but they kept shining bright lights in my eye. And I just got pissed, like, so internally, and this was on the Valium as well. But I was like, if they don't get these lights out of my eyes. And finally the doctor was like, hey, turn that light off. like, because I guess it was unnecessary. But he finished, he did both eyes, he put the flaps back down, he cleaned them out with like water. And then they walked me like 2 feet to where my friends were. And one of the first things they told me is Blythe was like, Mitchell almost threw up. Mitchell almost threw up.
Oh, no.
Because they could see the whole thing. So we have an entire video of every single thing I said afterwards. Mitchell called it my post-game interview. And
have you had a chance to look at the footage? Because you don't want to open your eyes.
I know. I was editing a little bit this morning, and I was editing a little bit the other day. I'm trying to do like in small increments. So
this is YouTube? This is something you're going to release on YouTube?
Yeah, and I'll do a TikTok as well, but this was quite literally like 30 seconds after they closed my eyelids. And so it's just all my first thoughts. And the whole thing, my posture is incredible in. I don't know why, but both my feet were on the ground, my hands were on my knees, and my posture was perfect.
Who are you?
I don't know. It affected me so weirdly. But then the Valium didn't take away the pain. The pain was pretty bad after. So I had the numbing drops. And you got like 5 little vials of numbing drops, but you were only supposed to use 1 drop of each. But I didn't read the instructions beforehand. And in the car, I poured like an entire one in my eye. It was great. But it doesn't really affect you. It's just to like save the drops.
Yeah.
And then I used those. I was off them before the 48 hours, which is when they really want you off them. But ideally, you're off in 24 hours. And now my eyes still sting. So.
Are you sleeping okay? Because I'm sure when you sleep, it's really healing then.
Yeah. I tried to go to bed last night at 9:30 p.m. just because I was like, what else am I going to do? Can't really do much. And so I laid in bed for like 3 hours before falling asleep. Terrible sleep last night, actually. But before, I've been having pretty good sleep. And I've been trying to rest my eyes as much as possible. But a part of me is like, yes, I need to rest them, but I do also need to use them. Mm-hmm. But I have these really cool sleeping goggles.
I know, they're very cool.
Yeah, and you can use them when you play racquetball.
And when you ride your motorcycle.
Exactly.
I don't know about that.
Well, I can't wait to see that video. And I'm sure people listening now want to go check it out too to see what you're talking about. It would have been a better video if Mitchell actually did throw up. That would be funny.
Yes.
And I will say that if you were going to suck out somebody's soul, you would do it through the eyes. Because you know that expression, the eyes are the window to your soul.
The eyes
You
are
know,
the
so
windows to your
that's how you
soul.
would do it for sure. But it sounds like this interaction here between us, I could tell you still have your soul. So that's good.
Yay.
It's still you.
What was y'all's surgery like?
Do you remember yours, honey?
Yes.
First, just to set it up, radial keratotomy was the procedure, and that preceded the LASIK procedure. And the guy that gave it to me was Robert Marmer, and same to your mom. And he was the father of a friend of mine, still is, and one of the first practitioners in Atlanta of this procedure. He studied with the guy in Russia. And what they do... Figured it out.
Who founded that?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's a more of a blunt instrument in terms of like how to get it done. LASIK, what they do is they're using your cornea to create a contact lens, like to reshape your cornea so that you see better, and that it's refracting the light that comes in exactly where it needs to be on the optic nerve.
LASIK or RK?
That's LASIK. LASIK is really surgical. RK, they want to reshape your cornea, but the way they do it is they make these radial cuts from the center out of your eye with like a knife by hand, literally by hand. And then, there's certain number of cuts, certain lengths of cuts. And then when they heal, you know how when a wound happens, when it heals, the skin tightens. That's what happens with your eye. And so your eye literally changes shape when it heals. It's this amazing procedure, and he was amazing at doing it. But the depth, they take these really specific measurements to know where to put the cuts, how deep to make the cuts, and they're small, they're really tiny. So what I remember was that you went in. I don't know if I got a Valium, maybe, but I do remember the drops.
Yeah, I think so. I think you were on Valium because I came over and saw you.
I know I couldn't
after
drive.
work. Right, you were at your apartment.
And the drops he took, he told me at the time, he said, basically this is like liquid cocaine, and it's going to numb your eye completely. And then they put the
I didn't know that.
Then they put the clamp in my eye, which held it open, which was a little freaky.
You
And
feel
again,
so
I'm looking-
helpless.
Yeah.
You're just like, bro, there's nothing you can do.
And I did have to look at the light. My light was white. And then he said, you're going to feel a pressure, and you're not going to see the light anymore, but keep looking there. So that was the same.
Same.
And then, so I felt this pressure, and then the light went away, and then the light came back, and the light went away, and the light came back. And he did that several times. It was done like that. And then he did the other eye.
No,
No,
not
we
the
did
same
one at
day.
a time. Yeah, we did one at a time. Exactly. And then
It was like 3 days later, or was it? It
Yeah,
seemed like it was.
I don't remember.
It was 1 to 3 days after.
You did the other eye after?
He'll do the other eye. Yes,
That's
they don't do both
odd.
eyes the same time.
Well-
no, I think it's good because then you know how well that first surgery went.
But your
because-
vision's like jacked up then.
Well, but one eye's looking better than the other.
Yeah, you could. It was. I feel like it was instantaneous that I could see.
Well,
Clear,
you
but I that
no,
was a long
'cause
time ago. But I remember.
we left with patches. I had a patch on my eye.
Right, but I mean, well, I didn't mean instantaneous, but I mean like the next day or whatever. It seemed like it wasn't. I don't know.
I remember starbursts, like so for the weeks following it, and really for quite a long time. It actually extended to months. At night, when you'd see street lights, headlights, any
Yeah.
kind of bright light, you get this starburst effect that comes off the light because of the incisions.
Yeah.
But that eventually goes away.
Yeah.
But in terms of the other than that, it was like perfect vision until I needed reading glasses in my 40s.
Yeah, my vision's good. It wasn't good right after. It was very blurry right after. Oh my gosh, I didn't even tell you guys. After we were done, I like had such a hard time getting to the car. Well, first they took me to another room to shine more lights into my eye. And I was like, y'all got to give me a break. I know you're doing your job, but geez. And afterwards, I was like, I'm hungry. And Blythe and Mitch were hungry. So we went to Erewhon, which I don't know if you guys know what Erewhon is. It's like the
No.
most expensive grocery store ever. I mean, probably not ever, but it's so expensive in LA. And we don't ever go to grocery shop, but they have a hot bar there where they have really yummy food. It is still also overpriced, but we were like, yeah, Erewhon sounds good right now. But I could hardly walk. And so they're like holding me. I have 3 pairs of sunglasses on because my eyes hurt so bad and my eyes are closed. And we walk into Erewhon. Believe it or not, I'm not the only person in there with sunglasses on because everyone wears sunglasses all the time, indoors, outdoors, at night. And I had Blythe order for me because I could not. But I was like, what a choice! What a choice for us to go to Erewhon right now.
Did you eat in public?
No, oh my gosh, no. We took it back to my place. I ate a little bit, and then we put on an old Disney movie, and I put on my goggles and put a blanket over my head.
So I was on the phone with you, and I guess this was the next day or something like that. And you were walking into your apartment, and there was a surprise for you in your apartment.
Yeah. There was a few days before my surgery, I was on TikTok, and I had some friends over. And somebody, I don't even remember the exact scenario, but somebody gave someone a cookie cake for something they had done. And I made a joke where I was like, why am I not getting a cookie cake for LASIK, huh? And so I walked in, and there's a cookie cake that says, you beat LASIK.
Nice.
And I was like, who the heck did this? And so I'm racking my brain, and it comes down to 3 people. It was either, in my head, Blythe, Mitch, or Jenna. But I didn't think Jenna was there for that conversation. However, she has a key because we live together. And then it was Blythe and Mitch. And turns out it was Mitch. And it was so sweet. I was like,
I was guessing it was Mitch.
That was so sweet.
He's
such
so
a sweet
thoughtful.
dude.
Yeah.
I agree. I thanked him and
I didn't
and
know.
Bree as well for being there for you. But
Yeah.
Cool. So Bree was not there. It was
It's
Blythe.
I mean, I Blythe. Duh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Bree was
That's what I meant.
the
Bree was
Rose
last
Bowl,
podcast.
last podcast.
But it was nice too because a few days before my surgery, me, Sterling, and Jenna actually got to go support Mitchell because he just ran a half marathon with his dad out here in LA. And so we woke up really early. He didn't think we were coming. And we ran to get there in time, and we saw him as he was finishing, like not quite past the finish line, but really close to it. And his face like lit up, and he was so happy, and his dad was happy. And so I was really glad because we all agreed. We were like, Mitchell is like one of the most supportive people we've ever met in our entire life. Like if you need
He's
to
solid.
be picked up. Yeah, if you need to
Yeah.
be picked up from LAX at 3 a.m. or 5:30 p.m., like he's gonna be there, just because like he's awesome. Like that's just how he is. And so we were like, we can absolutely wake up early and go do this.
yes. Oh, that's amazing. I admire people who can do that. I never really got past 2 miles. I'm like, no, I'm done.
Well, congratulations, Maggie, on you beat LASIK, and you can pretty soon you'll be able to see. Right now, you look like, you're wearing the sunglasses, like either you've spoken way too much pot before a podcast, or I don't know what. But
Do I look cool?
you look cool. You look like a rock star.
I've felt bad because anytime we've gone out to eat, I've been in a hat and sunglasses and a hood, and I feel like I look like I'm trying to look like I'm important. But in reality, a doctor just zapped my eyeballs.
Yep.
Well, thanks for the story. I'm sure you helped a lot of people think about whether or not they ever want to do that thing. Can you give us an idea what it costs?
Yeah, I put down a $500 deposit, and then the day of I paid $3,100.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's
like
pretty
braces.
But when you do think about it, like contacts are not cheap. And yeah, it may not even out. Actually, for the rest of my life, it would probably even out. But contacts and contact solution and the time, and something I was talking to a friend about, I actually have a few friends who might do it now, and I'm really glad I got to go first so I can kind of go with them and help them. but the spontaneity of life.
Tell them to watch the videos.
Well, and also I do think there is something to not doing it when you're too young.
Yes.
Closer to 30 is probably a better idea.
Well, no.
You were saying being spontaneous.
Yeah.
Like, that gives you a chance to be more spontaneous.
Yeah, an aspect of spontaneous life gets taken away when you have to worry about like, oh, I don't have my contact solution or contacts case, so I have like an X amount of time before I have to be home. And I'm like someone who never did sleep in their contacts and like stuff like that. I like to follow the rules. I was very like particular about the way it does. I'm not the biggest fan of germs, and so like I needed to be in like a clean place with this and this and this. And so it was kind of exhausting, like mentally, and just sometimes the way I think stresses me out about like, am I getting germs in my eyes, X, Y, Z. And so to have that factor gone is really, really nice. And yeah, in regards to the age, they called me a few days before to like double confirm that I was coming. And then they asked me if I had any questions. And I was like, yeah, am I too young for this? And they were like, well, as long as the doctor what's the word? As long as the doctor cleared you. Yes, sorry. Valium is still in effect. No, it's not. That's not true.
3 days later. I told you you're hypersensitive
milk
to
that excuse.
anything.
But they said as long as the doctor cleared you, you're fine. However, when I went for my checkup, the doctor was sick. So I never saw a doctor before this. So I wouldn't recommend that. But in general, a lot of studies say 20 is fine. A lot of people say you should wait till you're like 25. Just because your prescription can change so much. However, in my case, my vision isn't terrible. It hasn't been rapidly like decreasing. My prescription has not changed in years. And so I think I'm going to be fine prescription wise. I don't think my eyes are still changing. But yeah, I would say just consult with a doctor.
Yeah, but like you said, you don't want to go through that again.
I won't be.
Right.
For sure.
But if you relate that to braces, like people who get braces when they have their baby teeth, and they're like, oh yeah, because if you get braces on your baby teeth, then when your adult teeth come in, maybe you won't have to get braces. Every single person I ever talked to who had braces on their temporary teeth, their baby teeth, had braces on their adult teeth. So I'm not a fan of that. But
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Oh, I freaked out the first time somebody told me that. I was like, but aren't those his baby teeth? Said that he hasn't got his adult teeth. This was like a 5th grader. And she's like, oh no, the dentist said that if he does that, then he won't have to get them. Guess what? He had braces again as a teenager. And I don't know. Maybe I'm not a dentist. I'm not an orthodontist. Maybe there is a reason in some cases, but I think it's one of those scenarios where they were like, oh yeah, you want to straighten those teeth too.
Well,
before they fall
braces are a
out.
lot less scary. I will say that.
Oh,
But they
hated
take so much
braces.
longer. The process takes way too long.
I'd do RK 10 times before I'd do braces again.
Oh my gosh, absolutely not. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I hated braces. I was
Mom,
torture.
your eyeball would be gone.
I just mean going through a process like that.
Well, also, you haven't recently gone through RK. Let me tell you. It's still fresh in my mind. And it is
It's different. I think our procedure was easier.
Yeah, it was very easy.
Very easy.
Like I don't think I missed work or anything. It was like.
So if you hear Maggie a little bit more clearly, it's because she got LASIK, and everything about her is a little bit more crystal clear.
My senses are so
awesome.
good.
Well, in other news, I've been my senses have been missing your mama because she was in Texas, and I was home alone this week, getting to know the Thera Gun that you gave me, which is amazing. That self-massage tool, I've been figuring it out. It's really great. It's like I've got my Thera cane, which is like the big curvy crowbar stick that I use and have been using for many, many years. But the Thera Gun does some different stuff, like in my hips and my lower back. And I actually brought it on an outing to play disc golf with my friends. And it was weird because like we played disc golf. I made like an 85-foot putt. It was like my longest putt of the year. And then we had kombucha in the parking lot that my friend Wayne makes. And I took out the Thera Gun and I was like showing the guys the Thera Gun. And I just was thinking, we look so weird right now.
Oh, yeah.
These
Well-
3 guys in the parking lot drinking
Yeah.
kombucha and massaging each other with a
Yes.
Thera Gun.
Yeah. It's not that you look weird. It's that you
Yeah,
are
we
weird.
are. We're really weird people. Really, really weird people.
Theraguns are great though.
I fell in the river today too, Maggie.
What? What's up?
Yeah, I was filming my weekly video and I was done with all the shots for the script and I was shooting B-roll and I decided to walk a log that was over the river and it was not a good idea. I knew it wasn't a good idea because it was all wet and like covered in dirt and moss and really slippery. But I was just like, I just need to get up there for like one step, for 1 second, for one shot and balance on it. Nope. I didn't even get on top of it. I just like stepped on it and like immediately was off and in the water.
Yep.
Wait,
And
you have a video of it though?
Oh, yeah. That's the best part. Like,
Can
you're going
you
to
send
say
it
something
to me?
stupid, make sure you're rolling video.
Yeah,
Can you
I
please
will.
send
You
it
gotta
to
watch.
me? Thanks.
You gotta watch it till the end because I was just like, I fell. It wasn't deep and it wasn't a long fall, but here I am in this water and my boot is completely submerged. These are waterproof boots, but they're not waterproof if you're up to your knee. Because then all the water goes in the top and then stays in the boot.
Yeah.
And so I'm standing there and I've got my other foot still in the air. And I'm like, how do I get out of this without getting my other boot wet? And finally, I'm just like, forget it. And I just started walking through the water with both boots.
You win, River. You win.
Yes. And I came to a conclusion this week. I was thinking about dogs and just the amount of time that I've been spending with our dogs and the relationship that I've developed with those dogs and, the quantity of time with them. And we've gotten so much tighter, the 3 of us, like we really can communicate without a lot of even instructions. They just know what I want them to do. We just vibe together. And I was thinking about there's always been that thought in the back of our mind is like, at some point in our life, we'll get to this stage where we don't have dogs when they pass away and then we can travel and then we can do this kind of thing. And that's such an enticing thing to think about because they're such a huge commitment in your life.
Yeah.
But I just kind of resolved myself to the fact that no, that's not going to happen because we're dog people.
Yay.
Like we are totally dog people. We love having them in our life.
Yep.
And once I came to terms with that, I could just be like, okay, well, that's what we do.
Yep.
Yeah.
We have to pick up poop for the rest of our life and carve an hour out of every single day to take them to the park and on a good long walk. But you get a lot out of it in return too. In fact, I was just in preparation for the podcast because I was going to tell you that I was looking at the health benefits of like proven by science of having animals.
Yep.
And this link right now, hold on a second. Yeah, that wasn't a hot link. Okay, give me the first one.
People who have dogs are mentally happier.
Well, yeah.
They're healthier because they get up more frequently to walk the dogs and to take them out.
So there's 10 mental health benefits of having pets in general, dogs or cats, I suppose, although we're dog people. And so we're going to see if you guys can guess them. And yours first was what, honey?
My first guess was that people who have dogs are happier people.
Well,
because of the
yes.
love they get, the unconditional love from a pet makes them happier and just more confident.
Number one is they help us feel loved. And that is true.
Go.
They help us feel less lonely as well.
Okay.
Did you know
I
that
kind of put that together.
pets can help you? They actually help lower your blood pressure.
Well, again, it's the same kind of thing. They're calming. That's giving you love, giving you that unconditional love.
Exercise.
Yes, I said that one, but
Definitely more exercise. They encourage you to go outside.
yep.
I mean, yeah, a lot of this is just regular.
They help you find things like, Lassie, hey, where's my shoe? And then they go get it. Actually, I was I wasn't around when Lassie was a thing, but
I've never seen that. Our dogs don't
I never
do that.
did either, but
Yeah.
I've heard joke references to Lassie.
Exactly. Bottom line is pets are great. Did you know that cats, get this, cats actually domesticated themselves?
That's how smart they are. They're just like, oh, forget this getting our own food, man. I'm going to go get a human and I'm going to domesticate the human to my lifestyle. I need a bed. I need some regular food.
They lived in proximity to human. They lived in proximity to human beings for thousands of years before they were like, okay, I can go in your house now. And that's just kind of the attitude that they've had ever since.
I tell you what, I domesticated my dogs. I housebroke my cats like a dog. When I've had at least 2 cats as an adult, and I taught both of them to go outside to go to the bathroom. And the first time it was purely by accident because I was cleaning my apartment on a Saturday and I set the litter box outside the front door of the apartment. And then I forgot about it. And later in the evening when, after I'd eaten whatever and sit down and watch TV, the cat went to the door and started meowing. And I was like, what's going on? I opened the door and she went out and went right into the litter box. And I was like, oh, that's nice. So I didn't bring it back in. And then when I moved, I did away with the litter box. And since I knew a cat could be taught to do that, I did it again with the next cat that I had and never had a litter box in the house.
It is interesting to think about, because I'd say the majority of people who have cats don't let their cats outside. They're house cats or they're in the apartment all day long. But I remember growing up, when I would house sit, their cats were completely allowed outside whenever they wanted to with the little cat doors and would just roam around the neighborhood and then come back when they wanted to.
Yeah. And because I worked, that's what I would do. I'd let my cat out during the day, and then at night, when I get home from work, the cat would literally meet me at the door. She could hear my car, whatever, come out from wherever she was, and we'd basically get to the front door at the same time. Yeah. And my dogs, I keep calling my cat a dog, and my cat was snuggly like a dog.
Yeah.
It would just it was like a dog. I was just like, that's wild.
We should say, if you are going to let your cats outside or your dogs outside, if you're going to have a cat or a pet at all, you should get it spayed. So that there's such a breeding problem. And all of our animals have been adopted. We've rescued all of our animals in our lifetime just because there's such a need for that. And I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. And also, I would recommend if you have a cat and it goes outside that you put a bell on its collar so that any birds.
So cars can hear it.
No. So the birds have a chance to get away if they're not, if they're getting a bird, it's not because they're hungry.
Mm.
Yeah. And collars with numbers so people aren't going to pick them up.
Right.
And chipped.
Yeah.
Having them chipped is a good idea too.
Yep.
Yeah, which leads us into our next topic of our opinions on dog breeding. No, I'm kidding. That is not where we want to go right now.
I don't know nothing about it.
By the way, the Warders are fostering a dog right now. It's called Fidget.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Fidget. So Wendy and Jim are fostering a dog, and they've been volunteering in animal shelters really for years and years and years.
Yeah, that's so great.
Yeah,
that's amazing. I knew Jim did. I didn't know Wendy did.
No, Wendy's into it now too, as well. And Simon and Spencer met Fidget, and they got along great. Had a really good visit with them too. And this dog is hilarious. It is afraid of hardwood floors.
Oh no!
I've heard of animals.
It got used to them at the Warder's house, but when it went over to Grandma's house, it didn't want to walk on the hardwoods. And it would walk down the carpet, and then you have to pick it up and put it on another piece of carpet, and then it would just stay right on the rug there. Yeah. And at Wendy's house, initially it would run. She had runners down her hallway, and it would jump from one to the other, but it didn't want to be on the hardwoods.
That's so funny.
Eventually, it figured it out.
I'm surprised Simon's not fearful because he's taken a couple of falls coming down the stairs and sliding. Because he's too excited coming down the stairs, and then he, goes sliding on it and wipes out.
Yeah.
So Maggie, before we wrap this podcast, there's a great question from Emily that I'd love for you to tackle. And she says, hey Mags, as an actress having to deal with numerous auditions, possible rejection, and all the things that come with a career in entertainment, Do you have any advice on how to handle it? I'm a professional dancer. Sometimes I feel so good and solid in what I'm doing, but when that next opportunity takes a long while to come and you start hearing more no's than yeses, it starts to weigh on me, and it's something I continue to struggle with. You don't know anything about that, do you?
I've known about that my entire life. I've always been involved in performing and acting when I was a little kid, in the musical theater, and dance. I took dance for a long time, and college auditions, and now film auditions and everything. For me, kind of after I audition for something, I have to let it go a little bit, and understand that there are so many factors that are so far out of your control. So much of the time, you're just not what they're looking for precise look-wise. Or you could give an absolutely incredible performance and they see someone else and they go, no, they fit the cast better. They fit the genre better. They fit the aesthetic that we're going for a little bit better. And that's not your fault. That's not their fault. That's just what the project is. And so kind of just, thankfully, I love the art form of acting so much that even like auditions are a joy for me, and giving my all to that character for the amount of time I have with that character, if it's through the audition phase, if it's through the producer session, if it's booking it, like that's the amount of time I have with the character, and I'm thankful for that.
That's a really good way to look at it. I didn't think about it.
It's
and even
just
in your
great
acting classes, you're getting that experience, spending time with different characters.
Absolutely.
Really cool.
And if you truly do love the art form of dance, then that's just a cool thing to even be able to audition. But I also do believe me, I understand the aspect of I'm sick of the auditions. I'm ready for the bookings. And so yeah, honestly, just trying to put it out of your mind once it's out of your hands, and focus on the next thing. Focus on another audition or a passion project of yours or something to stimulate you creatively, rather than dwelling on every single one until you hear a no about it or until you hear a yes about it, kind of trying to forget about it. And then if you do hear something, it's like, oh my gosh, wait, surprise, that's awesome. But not trying to follow it so closely to keep your emotions fully intact to that project. You know what I mean?
Sure. There's a mix of like self-confidence and self-protection, and like telling yourself a story that's going to keep you in a good emotional state and like ready for the next opportunity. Because I mean, how many stories do you hear about like one opportunity that falls apart and then the next one is the right one that really clicks? Or, you know, so it's like, how do I stay interested? And I guess, you know, Emily, I'd say just never forget the passion, never forget how much you love it. Yeah. And you know, why you do it. And you do it because you love it and because it's who you are. And yet, if it's going to be a career, it's got to be a different thing, you know, different relationship, and you got to have those opportunities, and maybe you can find them in different places that are even not the ones that you'd normally go after, but, you know, just keep your mind wide open for other opportunities to practice what you love and pay the bills, you know. And what that means for an artist, I think, is living within your means. You know, it does sometimes mean that you can't have a lot of extravagance in life. And then that's just part of why you do, you know, part of your dedication to the art form, I guess. But have you ever thought of, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I remember one time somebody who's been in the industry in film acting since she's little, very successful. She told me one time that the odds of auditions and bookings in the film industry was to book 1 in 50, which 50 auditions is a lot of auditions. And it may not sound like a ton, but it is. A lot. It's a lot of time.
Yeah, it
is. It's not like you're getting an audition every single day.
Yeah, but the more that you're out there as an actor, as a performer, the more you're out there, the more you're seen. So to your point, Dan, if it's not that one, it's the next one. The more you're out there, the better your opportunities, the right thing will come along. But also, I literally this morning was watching one of those Hollywood Reporter YouTube videos where they had the round table with 6 actors, Adam Sandler and Colin Farrell and several others, and Kai, the guy who was in Short Round, right, from Indiana Jones, who was just in Everything Everywhere All at Once. 25 years, guys. 25 years went by without him working. And then this came back. And his point was like, you got to believe in your dream. If that's like, because of course, 25 years and like nothing's happening. And he's just like, and 2 months went by from the time he auditioned, and he was, 2 months, you think, okay, I didn't get it. And another actor, he said it was 7 months. And that guy was a working actor, but all of the guys at the table, they all had the same thing. Like they wanted, and Brendan Fraser, professional actors, guys who had careers at least at one point, and then that whole thing of not getting the work, not getting the auditions, not getting the callbacks, not getting the job, and you're just like. And Colin was like, he was sure he had this one situation, and because they'd been talking about it, he'd been through all these conversations, and the months go by, and he was like, "Oh, we need you to come in and read." He was like, "Oh, I didn't get it." Well, of course he got it, but still, it was just like, so you never know. It doesn't matter what level you're on. That whole stress about the audition and gosh, am I good enough? Did I? Whatever, the whole imposter syndrome, they all experience it, everybody. And just, study your craft, be true to yourself. That truth comes out on the camera. The camera will see right into your soul. So pour it in. As a dancer too, your whole body, obviously.
I know a girl who went 7 years without booking and then booked a Disney show.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And like, if you asked her like why she kept doing it, it was because she loved it. She loved it so much. And that's the thing. Like, I could not book for the next 10 years and I wouldn't stop auditioning. Like, I love it. I really do. I have since I was a kid. So, I mean, I definitely hope I book very soon. But we'll see.
I'm sure you will.
So, Emily, clearly you're in good company because everybody feels the same way you do. Yep. And so just hopefully that will help you. And speaking of good company, thank you for being in the audience and being company with us this week. It's been a good, fun podcast where we learned about LASIK and talked about dogs and auditioning and other things. So really good to see you guys. And listen, if you want to ask a question that we can answer for you or suggest a topic, wholesomechaos.com is the place to do that. And that'll wrap it up for us this week.
All
Take care, Max.
I love you guys. I will.
Love you too.
We love you too. And we love you, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos. Mags and Dads, wholesome chaos.
I think it's cute that you guys wave even though we're an audio podcast.
That's just, I always do that just so that you guys don't so that we'll do it all together and be like, bye.
We do. We always wave.
Because sometimes I'll be like, bye. And then you're like, bye. And then Maggie, because of the time difference or whatever, the lag, she'll got 3 separate enthusiastic goodbyes.
Are you waving at the listeners or are you
I'm waving at
Maggie?
Maggie and you.
I'm waving at the listeners. I'm expressing my energy through my hand motion.
That's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.